All right. The cable preview for the show referenced, quote, Triple H's latest abuse of power.
Actually, my pet peeve is I've got, what have I got?
Frontier.
Something like that. Whatever I've got, the on-screen guide to this day still mentions that Vicky Guerrero is running Raw as the general manager.
Awesome.
And on SmackDown, it still to this day is listing that Booker T and Teddy Long are running the show as general manager. Is it that hard to switch that around?
Apparently. Comcast updates it every week. I just like the term his latest abuse of power. They must specify which one. So Hunter did in fact open the show in the ring. Shield was out there too. Brought out Randy Orton immediately. Showed the burial of Bryan on SmackDown. Orton said Bryan did not deserve to face him, so he would lose the pay-per-view and he would always be a B-plus guy. Also said that for the sake of the business, he should forfeit his title shot. Hunter started comparing Bryan to stars from the past, starting with Doink the Clown. Because Doink was very popular, he said, but he was never going to be world champion.
Wildly.
Yeah, that's an exaggeration. Doink was very popular, but he would never be world champion because that would be bad for business. He said he could bring back the European or Cruiserweight title so Bryan could have, quote, a good little goal to compete for. Hunter is so awesomely condescending. Hunter doing promos in this character is great. Bryan came out on stage. He noted that the 1992 crowds never chanted for Doink the way these crowds chant for him. Said he had earned everything he'd worked for, unlike Orton, who got in on his last name and his gift of good looks. Said he knew he could beat Orton because he'd clawed for everything in his life. Hunter pointed out that Bryan should be mad at Big Show, the guy with the ironclad contract, and that's what Hunter said, who had stood and watched as Bryan had been beaten. And he booked Bryan versus Big Show for tonight. And Bryan's promos have gotten a lot better, but I'm tired of watching Daniel Bryan do promos to open Raw every single week.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
It's Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Triple H. It's the same promo every week.
Yeah.
By the way, this ironclad contract. I know that people think that I'm going to flip my lid about this, but let me tell you something. I am happy that they have addressed the ironclad contract, even though their explanation is idiotic. He has an ironclad contract, but it's not ironclad. That's their explanation.
Yes.
You know what? Great.
He just acknowledged it.
I would much rather the storyline was that he got an ironclad contract, which just happens to not be ironclad, and that's why he can't do anything, than what would happen in perhaps TNA, where Big Show just wouldn't do anything, and they would have no explanation whatsoever. At least give me an explanation. Even if it's stupid. Just give me something. It's stupid, but you know what? As a fan, I can believe that John Laurinaitis' character was so dumb that he gave Big Show an ironclad contract, which somehow was not ironclad. Or that Big Show was such a nice babyface that he overlooked that, or something. Yes. I can buy that. At least there's some explanation as to why he's not helping his friend. And furthermore, as much as I absolutely think that the idea that Big Show is broke is so stupid, that Big Show somehow lost all of his money and he has no money, as much as I think that's stupid, at least it explains why he won't just save his friend and risk being fired. So, great. It's stupid. I'm sure they could come up with something better, but at least they came up with something.
So Hunter and Randy were laughing backstage. They ran into Cody Rhodes. Cody, as politely as he could manage, said that Orton versus Bryan was the best thing for business. Hunter said that was not Cody's decision. He noted that Cody was getting married soon. Said neither he nor Randy had been invited. So he got Cody a gift.
Or Brent.
Nor Brent. Well, you know what? We don't know that.
Well, that is true.
Perhaps Brent got an
invitation. No, we'd have heard about it by now.
Maybe it's in the mail still.
Sure.
So he got Cody a gift, which was a match with Orton, and if Cody lost, he would be fired. He did a poor job of explaining this, and the Lawler and Cole were guessing, and JBL had to connect the dots for them. Fandango wrestled Miz, This is the first match in the show, and the bell rang after 25 minutes of television time. Fandango got a busted nose, had to get patched up by the doctor. He hit a leg drop, started selling his leg. Miz pounced, hit the figure 4, and won. And
what a shitty figure 4.
Well, yeah. I just, I've mentioned this before. I actually like watching Fandango wrestle. So, I feel bad about his nose, and I hope his leg thing was just a work. Sure it was. Booker T was there for Christ knows what reason. Flying himself around the country to watch Raw.
He's always on Raw.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
How does he get backstage? He's fired.
He's also got an unbreakable contract.
I guess he does. What's the problem with being fired? You just go around the country like Booker T anyway. So he advised Bryan that he could not win a fight with the McMahons, but if he would just do what they said, he could still make a ton of money. And Bryan refused. They re-aired the Punk Heyman thing. Dolph Ziggler was booked against a mystery opponent. Dean Ambrose jumped him from behind, threw him into the post. He was saying something about teaching him respect for the business, which just made me laugh. And then Ryback came out, and it turns out Dean wasn't the mystery opponent, Ryback was. And Ambrose's mock fear in reaction to Ryback's theme was tremendous. It was the look of, oh no, Ryback's going to kill you. So the ref offered to cancel the match. Dolph insisted they fight. Crowd hated Ryback. Chanted Goldberg very loudly at him. Told him he couldn't wrestle. And Dolph made a brief comeback, but Ryback cut him off and he won with the shell shock. Maddox told Stephanie and Hunter that Big Show was refusing to wrestle Bryan, as Stephanie said that she would take care of it. Doom followed. So Stephanie came out for a, frankly, masterpiece of a segment in that everything she said was untrue and illogical and unbelievable.
It's true. And I'd like to say that as much as I defended the fact that they did this storyline of the Big Show being poor, this segment sucked and was infuriating.
It was everything, every point, literally, that Stephanie McMahon made was complete bullshit. So she brought out the Big Show. She said she had grown up in the arenas of the WWE, and when she was a little girl...
12,
she said, Big Show had been there to be her friend, her mentor, her giant. I'm sure you went over this.
1989.
99.
No.
Well, based on... Okay,
no.
See, you're going by what she claimed because she was 12 years old.
Yes.
Yes. Big Show joined the company in 1999.
Yes.
When he was 27 and Steph was 23.
Yes.
So...
She is claiming that she is 10 years younger than she actually is.
I guess so.
10 whole years! That takes a lot of balls!
Nearly a third of her life. So, Steph then explained that the Big Show was broke.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that the babyface was stupid enough to blow all his money, but the babyface with the ironclad contract had blown all his millions and millions of dollars.
Well, bad real estate.
His strip mall went broke.
His strip mall went broke.
I would like to see the Big Show strip mall. I hope that's what they called it. Then, I'm astounded by this promo needs to be locked in a museum vault. It was just biggest collection of bullshit ever. She explained that his ironclad contract could be voided.
Yeah.
If he failed to perform his duties.
Yeah.
Then, she said Big Show would never get a job in Hollywood because he's 7 feet tall and 500 pounds.
That was a load of bullshit.
That may have been the
Big
biggest,
Show should be a leading man.
That may have been the biggest pile of bullshit in the entire promo.
Well, no, claiming she was 12 when he came to the company.
Big Show,
trumped that.
As we discussed on this show, is an excellent actor. Big Show has made movies. More to the point, there's a story right now, or at least as of a few days ago, on their website about Kurgan's acting career. Kurgan is much smaller than the Big Show, and he's a significantly worse actor.
Well, You've seen one of Kurgan's acting roles, Vinny.
I've seen many of them.
He was a mummy, if I recall correctly.
He was
Frankenstein? What the hell was he?
He was in... He may have been. Oh, in Monsters Brawl.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that one. I also saw the Sherlock Holmes movie. I also saw Pacific Rim. Now, granted, in these movies, for the most part, he just stands there. But Big Show can do that too. The truth is, actors who are that size, generally, because there's only like 3 or 4 of them, so they don't have a hard time finding work. Stephanie then explained Big Show would not be able to wrestle for much longer, which actually, you know what? In the grand scheme of things, that's the most accurate thing she said.
Maybe.
Perhaps. It makes more sense than he won't be able to find a job acting. But she couldn't leave well enough alone and outright said he was going to die soon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, she told him the best thing for his family would be to wrestle this match and not void his ironclad contract.
Void his ironclad contract.
She gave him an insincere hug and walked away. And Show stood there with his lip quivering. Fans were so moved by this giant pile of heaping, steaming bullshit, they chanted things like, "You'll be okay," and also, "Y2J."
Yeah, this sucked. This segment absolutely sucked.
I can't even say it sucked. It was marvelous. It was so perfect at lying.
Well, that's her character.
Yeah, Big Show's not. Big Show fell for it. It was like the Jedi mind trick.
Well, you can't void your... Again.
Let's just move on.
Again.
We repeated everything.
I realize... I even feel like an idiot even saying it. But at least they tried to make sense of their own bullshit. With more bullshit. I guess that's the problem.
I can't even say they tried. JBL tried later. It was actually the next segment. But when he pointed out, this quote-unquote ironclad contract was drawn up by John Laurinaitis, and John Laurinaitis sucks. Therefore, it's a shitty contract.
Sure.
That's a better explanation than anything Stephanie said.
All right. Now, I should note that if she was hanging out with the Big Show when she was 12, given that he debuted in 1999, that would mean that she was 12 when Triple H married her.
True.
In Las Vegas at the drive-thru.
Yes.
That doesn't seem right.
I'm opposed to that kind of thing.
Because that was, in fact, in 1999 that this occurred.
Yeah. After the break, Big Show pulled a Vinny, had a total meltdown. Was tossing computers into walls, smashing tables with his fists. This was a great tantrum.
Except for the guy who got hit in the head with a chair.
That made it great. Sucks for that guy, but... Primetime players versus Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal. Heath Slater's a fantastic jobber. Titus O'Neil is now a babyface. He must lose the whistle immediately. The whistle has to go. They actually had a competitive match. Got the heat on Young for a long time. Titus got a hot tag. Everyone was into it, doing the dog bark. And he won with a spine buster. This was fun. The wrestling on the show, by and large, was actually fun. It's all the other crap that dragged it down. Heyman was angry with Brad Maddox for continually putting him in situations where CM Punk could get his hands on him. Hunter stepped in, said he was the one who had approved all this. Said he was always impressed with the way Heyman had weaseled out of everything throughout his career. So either at the pay-per-view, either he was going to find another creative way to weasel his way out of something, or Punk would beat the crap out of him. And either way, Hunter won. So even though Hunter is the most evil guy in the company, he still hates Paul Heyman. A wacky Bray Wyatt video asking where Kane had gone to, basically bragging about how they had chased him out of the company. Cody Rhodes wrestled Randy Orton. I don't know what was going on with the crowd, but something was distracting everyone, including Orton.
It was the geeks.
They were
dressed up as Hogan, Savage, Jake.
Chance for Randy Savage, yes. Everyone in the back was watching this match on the monitor. So the match is great. And even after the geeks in the crowd were literally stealing the show, they still had people chanting. Cody.
Literally?
I think so. Did I use that correctly?
They literally stole the show?
They stole the attention.
I see.
All right. So, no, they did not rob the set.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, they were totally into Cody's comeback, chanting his name, getting in all the near falls. And then finally, he tweaked his knee, and Orton kicked him in the knee because he's a dirty heel, hit an RKO for the win. This was really good. Hunter
Poor
came out on
Cody.
stage.
You forgot Cody's crying at the end as he was, as the crowd attempted to chant, "Thank you, Cody," and off he went on his merry way to his marriage. Which explains him getting his mustache cut off, too.
Yes, it does.
She finally put her foot down.
Yes.
You will not be wearing that in our wedding photos.
Hunter came out on stage. He led the crowd in cheering for Cody very sarcastically. Said he respected Cody, but this was a business and he needed winners, which is funny because then shouldn't you fire the loser of every single match? Anyway, he got to the point where he was going to say you're fired, and everyone was waiting for the big Vince McMahon moment. Then he just said, "You're fired," and walked away. Which is actually really great. And fans chanted, "Thank you, Cody." Lawler asked what Cody was going to do now, and I thought, well, probably going to do the same thing that all the other dozens of guys who get fired every year from this company do.
Apparently nothing. They have no other job skills.
Yeah. Punk came out for a promo, outright said he had nothing new to say. He basically, the point of this was to sell the fans on the idea that if you buy the pay-per-view, you will see me give a beating to Paul Heyman like you won't believe. That's what he said.
That won't happen.
No.
Because I won't believe it unless there's blood. And there won't be.
Yeah.
So he will not give me a beating I won't believe.
And I do love just, I'm with you. I'm not, I don't care enough about Axel to care about the match. I don't think the beating is going to be that revolutionary or anything. So I don't really care about any of this. But I do love just how old school this angle is. The heel beat up the babyface, and you have to pay money to see the babyface get his revenge.
Sure.
That's awesome.
And he's going to be promised to break his face.
He did promise to break Paul Heyman's face. Big Show met with Bryan. Bryan said he was not afraid of Show, and Show said, "Look, I can't afford to be fired. I'm in a no-win situation." Bryan said, "Yeah, it's a no-win situation because you're going to lose." It was goofy. Natalya versus Naomi versus Brie Bella.
Segment sucked.
She was on commentary. She buried all of them and then soon attacked them all for the DQ. They triple teamed her, but it was a shitty triple team, both legitimately and storyline wise, because first of all, they could not get out of each other's way to hit this girl. Like they went to triple team her and they all got in a line. And AJ was fighting them off for way too long. Like she was Daniel Bryan and they were the Shield. And then eventually they overwhelmed her and they beat her up and they all left.
AJ's the heel, everybody.
Right.
This was very bad.
I think they're all heels.
Sign to a 4-way.
Yeah, they came up later. Sandow wrestled RVD, which I just now realized he had done the exact same match on SmackDown. I forget who mentioned this. It may have been on Lance Storm's Twitter, but Ricardo's just out there wearing RVD's t-shirts. I still have no idea why they're a team, but if he's going to be Rob Van Dam's announcer, the best idea would be to take his tuxedo and get it airbrushed like Rob Singlet's.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. So, Rob was about to hit the frog splash when Del Rio came out to distract him. This was the exact same thing on SmackDown. They had a real long match after the break, and Damian fought valiantly, but it was to no avail. Rob won with a frog splash, just like on SmackDown. It was a fun match, but I just realized I just saw it.
Ricardo looks like a fan who won a contest.
Mm-hmm. It's a bad look.
Not good.
Some guys can rock a t-shirt and look okay. Most wrestlers, in fact, but Ricardo can't.
I remember one time when I was at the WrestleMania Hotel. It's probably about 2 years ago. And I was at the gym. And I only saw, I think, 4 wrestlers in there during the time I was working out. I actually expected more. There was Christian riding the Stairmaster or whatever. And then one of the girls was there. I can't for the life of me remember who it was. And then there was Ricardo and Alberto. And Alberto was trying to teach Ricardo how to lift weights, which was hilarious. It was like a skit, except it was real life. And at the time, he was in his tuxedo, and he didn't have his hair done. And so I had absolutely no idea who this guy was. I was like, is that Sin Cara? Is he here with an unmasked Sin Cara trying to teach him how to lift weights? That doesn't make
Sin
any
Cara
sense.
gained 80 pounds?
Yeah. He didn't look as big. He was wearing like a big sweatsuit and he was all covered up.
Okay.
I was just baffled. And then later it turned out he was trying to help Ricardo figure out how to lift these weights.
Hope he's still trying.
I was going to say.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Steph booked the women's four-way for the pay-per-view, and every time I tried to type Naomi's name in this report, it came out as Trinity. Because that's what she is on Total Divas. That goddamn show. Josh interviewed Cody Rhodes backstage as Cody was trying to leave. Cody said that McMahon had hated the Rhodes family for 2 decades. They had put his father in polka dots. They had put his brother in gold paint. Now he had to go find a way to provide for his wife. He asked if Cody had anything to say to his wife, and Cody just turned and walked away.
Is he going to come back as a Midnight Rider?
Ooh, good call. Or who was the yellow dog? Was that Brian Pillman?
Yeah.
Somebody. Dusty was the Midnight Rider, yeah. Main event was Daniel Bryan versus The Big Show. The whole roster's out there to watch this. So the gimmick was that Show didn't want to fight, and he was begging Bryan for peace, and Bryan was perfectly willing to fight it out. But I always love when someone's in a wrestling match and they don't want to wrestle. Just lie down and get pinned. You won't have to wrestle anymore. It's okay. It's a very simple solution to this problem.
I love the idea that the Big Show didn't want to wrestle Daniel Bryan because he thought he would just kill him.
Yes.
And that was actually the storyline.
Yeah.
That if left to his own devices, the Big Show will kill Daniel Bryan, the #1 contender to the championship at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This segment sucked.
Yeah.
Plus, nobody cared.
Nobody cared about this.
Because poor Daniel Bryan is supposed to be the top babyface, but Big Show is a sympathetic babyface, and Bryan is bullying him. Fight me! God damn it, I'll hit you then!
That is what happened.
Not do anyone any favors.
That is what happened. So, Show eventually couldn't deal with this anymore. He started to walk away. Shield attacked Bryan for the DQ. Show went after them, but Hunter stepped in front of him, warned him to think about his family, called him Paul, so you know it's a shoot, brother.
It's a shoot.
Hate that. So hate that. They triple powerbombed Bryan again. Hunter ordered Show to knock Bryan out, and to make a very long story very short, Show said no, started to leave. Steph brought him back. He punched Bryan out. He cried a lot. This in SmackDown was the show of the Weeping Giant. Then Orton came out. I wondered if the show was ever going to end, and Orton finally posed over his belt, and it dragged on forever. It was very lame. The only good thing about this is that they appear to be building to a giant multi-man match with Orton and Shield versus Bryan, Show, and Dolph, and maybe Miz. And if they do War Games, that'll make it all worth it.
Where in the hell did you come up with that?
Well, Bryan and Show is obvious, and Dolph and Miz were in the opening segment there on SmackDown. Hunter hates them too.
Well, let's see what happens.
I am hopeful we get a War Games.
I don't think we're going to get a War Games,
for 20 years,
homie.
but
I don't think you're going to get a War Games.
Well, you gotta hope.
You
got to have hope in life.
A couple of weeks ago, the first time they did this beating to Daniel Bryan, got something in my eye. God damn it. They gained like 1 million something viewers.
I see.
That's why we have to see it every single week now, dragging on forever.
Yeah.
And they need it with football coming next week.
So that was the end of Monday Night Raw.
Show was.